Hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss the major space companies' operations and how NASA perceives them as either partners or competitors. Three commercial entities, SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic, have created their own space race, which we're going to visit today with coverage of Virgin Galactic's Unity 22 spaceflight with Richard Branson aboard as a crew member. Finally, NASA has to learn how to best utilize these commercial companies in their space exploration programs as they compete in space with China. Welcome to Reaching for the Moon, hosted by me, Ed Grace. Since NASA launched the first American in space, that was Alan Shepard, back in 1961 aboard the Mercury Redstone 3, America has relied on NASA to lead the way in its efforts for space exploration. President Kennedy's challenge to NASA in 1962 of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely back to Earth before the end of the century was the birth of the Apollo program. And lead indeed did NASA, which achieved his goal and beat the Russians, who put the first man in space to the moon. Many years have gone by, and not very much has been accomplished by NASA in space exploration since the first landing on the moon. Yes, we built an international space station, which has been orbiting the Earth since November of 1998, which is over 20 years. However, only recently did NASA announce the Artemis program to land astronauts back on the moon, including the first woman. In the meantime, China, which did not have a space program when Apollo was conceived, has launched several spacecraft which have successfully landed on Mars, the Moon, built its own space station orbiting Earth, and announced plans to develop a futuristic moon-based program with Russia. China and Russia have made the moon-based program available to other countries or space organizations to join with them in developing the moon base, creating a potential space race with NASA's Artemis program. The Artemis program, which included a challenge by President Trump to land astronauts on the moon by 2024, is rejuvenating space exploration in the U.S. As part of the Artemis program, NASA published the Artemis Accords in October of 2020. The Artemis Accords established a practical set of principles to guide space exploration cooperation among nations participating in NASA's 21st century lunar exploration plans. The Artemis Accords were written to reinforce the 1967 Treaty on Principles governing the activities of states in the exploration and use of outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies. It's otherwise known as the Outer Space Treaty. 115 countries have agreed to and signed the Outer Space Treaty. As you can imagine, a lot has changed since the Outer Space Treaty was put in place as the governing document between countries for space exploration. No commercial companies were active on their own at that time, but only as part of a country's project or plan. Well, only 12 countries' organizations have signed the Artemis Accords. I'm sure NASA was looking for more participation in Artemis than we received. Russia, an ally on the International Space Station program for the past 20 years, has formally declined to sign the Artemis Accords. Thus, NASA must rely more on commercial entities in its Artemis space exploration programs, which appear to be turning into a space race with China. SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic each have their own billionaire founder who is funding their own R&D. Thus, the three of them have now created their own space race. Blue Origin recently announced that Jeff Bezos, the wealthiest man on the planet, and his brother will ride on the first crewed spaceflight aboard one of Blue Origin's rockets, the New Shepard, with a launch date of July 20th, 2021. Shortly thereafter, Virgin Galactic announced that its founder, Sir Richard Branson, will launch on the company's first fully crewed flight on July 11th, 2021 as part of a 6-person crew. Well, the Virgin Galactic Unity 22 flight was successful, and Richard Branson completed the flight from Spaceport America in New Mexico. Here are several photos of the flight. This is the crew before boarding, including Branson. Next, the carrier plane VMS Eve, carrying Unity 22 to its launch altitude. Richard Branson in his seat on Unity 22 on the way to space. Next, Unity 22 at its peak altitude of more than 282,000 square feet. Finally, Unity 22 on its descent and landing at the Spaceport America in New Mexico. A sample of the crowd at Spaceport America with Richard Branson addressing them with the rest of the crew after the flight. This was a great day for Virgin Galactic and the space tourism industry. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk has already launched crews of astronauts to the International Space Station. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson, a former astronaut and former U.S. Senator, discussed the billionaire space race between Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Richard Branson. "I love it," Nelson said. "These guys have contributed an awful lot." However, Nelson continued by saying, "Space is not going to be the Wild West for billionaires or anyone else looking to blast off. I'm keeping my eye on it, but they're going to have to meet the same rigorous physical and psychological examination for any other professional astronaut," continued Bill Nelson, the NASA administrator. "We want that crew that's up there already on the space station to be safe when they have visitors, and you should expect nothing less. At a time when we would expect that NASA would try to make it easier for commercial space operations, Nelson seems to be that he wants to make it tougher for commercial companies to compete in the marketplace. Now is the time that NASA needs more support from its commercial partners to compete in the space race with China. NASA may not like the competition it's getting from SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic, especially since all three are funding independent space projects that NASA has no control over. NASA is still counting on developing its own Space Launch System rocket. The original Space Launch System contract was issued in October 2011, with the first flight at that time planned for late 2016. Well, the first flight of the Space Launch System is now planned for late 2021. The SLS is now 5 years late and with a contract overrun of more than $2.7 billion. What we are witnessing today is the birth of a new dawn in space. NASA needs to figure out ways to incorporate and utilize the technology that each of the three private companies is developing and stop competing with projects like the Space Launch System, because that's how we're going to beat China in this new space race. Well, with those thoughts, I'm going to end today's discussion. In the meantime, I hope you liked today's update. If you did enjoy the video, give us a like. Hit the subscribe and notification buttons to be notified every time Reaching for the Moon posts a new video. Thank you for watching, and remember always, failure is not an option. Bye.